Right. Hello, my name is Cassie Corbin, and I'm doing my pkdccassandracorbinpresentation presentation on Sumi. And as you can see in the corner there, that's my mom. And I went home this weekend, and I was telling her I was doing a presentation as well on Sumi. And she asked me, "Who's Sumi?" Sumi is not a person, and my mom didn't know that. And first of all, I started trying to explain this to her. I was like, okay, well, Sumi started in China, and then it went over to Korea, and then it went to Japan. And they each had different names in China and Korea, and then it went to Japan, and it was called Sumi-e. And how it got there was by sea trade by Buddhist monks. And by just knowing it's by Buddhist monks, it obviously represents that it's more of a traditional and it takes time. And my mom really wasn't caring about the history. Her show was coming on, and she's like, I don't really care. And so I pulled up this picture on my phone of a bamboo plant, and I showed it to her, and she was looking at it, and I was pointing out, like, yeah, do you see the different color variations on it? Isn't it cool? And she was just looking at it. She's like, it's just a bamboo plant. Like, what's so special about it? And I asked what she thought about it, and she's like, kind of reminds me of a Chinese restaurant when you go in and there's paintings all over the restaurant. And I was like, well, yeah, they kind of are in Chinese restaurants, but the normal Sumi-e traditional paintings are usually in black and white and not color, because usually they're red and gold. And I was talking to my mom, and she just wasn't getting it. We weren't connecting. Like, she's just like, I'm still not getting this. Like, what are you trying to say? And so I had to think of a different approach of how to explain it to her without history, because with history, you just can't like fully appreciate the art, because the art of Sumi-e takes a long time to master, and it's a very long process. Like the training, you have to basically copy old masters' paintings, and so you actually don't get to start with your original work. And she just wasn't appreciating the time that it takes, because you have to smoothly grind the Sumi ink, which is that, on the ink stone, and you're grinding it rhythmically, getting it right, and you're adding water to it, and it just takes a long time to actually even get the process down before you even get to start painting the actual painting. And with the brush, it's very complex as well to this simple painting. You have to load the brush with different gradients of the Sumi ink, and so just loading the brush, it just like scares me, because the pressure and speed you apply to the brush affects how you work. And then I was like trying to figure out how else to explain it, and I was like, I read it, and it's like, it captures the spirit of life. And I was like, how does it capture the spirit of life? And then I started getting it. Like the training could be comparable to like what we're in college and just practicing. And through life, we're working on defining who we are. And artists of Sumi are trying to master the skill and define like their Sumi-e. And it's just really time-consuming, and like it might spend like a lifetime going through this process. And then also with the brush strokes that you take, it's kind of like the past and decisions we make, and all of those are permanent choices and decisions, and you can't really like erase those, just like the Sumi-e ink. So it's like inconsistent. You have to be consistent, and you can't take it back. Just like this painting, the choices and paths we make, they're there for a purpose and a reason. There's no detail really added to that. As you can see in this painting, like there's different speeds and pressure for the different brush strokes on the painting. And it also, the point of Sumi-e is to get the gestures, the personality, the essence of the subject. And it's kind of just like the tombstone. When we die, like it says on the tombstone, they were both very dear parents. It wasn't about physical traits, and it's like for a successful Sumi-e painting, you have to get the essence and personality. And after I finally got done explaining it to my mom, all was well in the kingdom, and she finally understood it and appreciated Sumi-e more, and I finally have a better appreciation and understanding and I hope you do as well, and thank you very much. Yes, Amy?
So I loved this approach to it.
Yeah.
It kept me like interested the entire time because it was telling a story instead of just spewing out information.
Yeah, I just didn't want, because like I figured everyone's gonna get tired of listening to me painting, so it's like, how am I gonna change this up?
I did like to be more interactive with the sides a bit more than just standing like mostly everyone that stands behind the podium and just spurs while you were like, hey, what's this?
I did appreciate the story in the beginning parts, but then as the presentation went on, I felt like I was being like bombarded with just a ton of words that the story like kind of veered off but then came back, but then veered off and then came back, and I liked how the idea of the story, and it was funny, like how you said your mom thought I was a person,
Yeah.
but it got too jumbled for me in the middle.
Yeah.
I kind of agree a little bit with that. Definitely, like as it got to the Panda Express slide, I was like,
Yeah.
what? I don't really follow it here. And then it got to the picture of the kids like training, and I feel like it kind of veered off track a little bit, but then you came back around with the story, and I feel like you kind of could have started it with that story and then ended with it, but like in the middle just kind of told us about it instead of like the word-wise. I couldn't wrap my head around it.
Okay.
I'm going to interject here. I think part of it is a problem with some of you of keeping your attention going. And I will be very, very blunt about that. Right now, most college students are working on about a 3-minute attention span because of their constant multitasking. They really cannot concentrate. I thought it was extraordinary, and I thought the layering of the story was really, really good, because she did make a point, and then she went into that point in depth, and then she made a point and then went into that in depth. And to do that within a narrative structure is hard. You can tell the planning is, you know, you've rehearsed this, you've gone through this in your head a zillion times. And it also gets to the depth we want. If it didn't, we could have a more, I want to say a kind of Mickey Mouse story or something that was, it was simplistic, that was overly simplifying the points. But as she went through how it fits life, the slides were rendered beautifully. They were excellent choices, even though the slides themselves weren't sumi-e, you know. And it could capture, it captures all of these problems that come with our understanding of the truth, and went into the depth and brought us back to a narrative that could link us. I thought the narrative was excellent. And I have to say that when you emailed me and said, or we talked about it, I think you said you wanted to make it into a story, I wasn't following that very well because I was getting very ill and it was harder for me to follow what you're doing. And so I kind of wondered, I said, well, will this come off? I can't remember exactly what she said. And starting with that picture, the only thing I would have done is probably to take the title off the very
Yeah, I was
beginning.
iffy about that. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want people to just be like, oh, it's a picture of her and her mom.
But
So
you're
I'm-
telling the story,
Yeah.
and we were noticing. And then going to the map, et cetera, I thought it was a fabulous lesson. Go ahead.
I think even right now, you didn't need to hold your cards.
Yeah,
That's the
no,
only thing I was
so.
gonna say. Because you're messing with me, but yeah.
Meg?
Otherwise, it's good.
I really appreciate your use of metaphors. I think it was a nice way to say things that you could have said in maybe one slide, but like talking about in detail about certain things was important because this this kind of artwork takes time and detail and attention. So.
What was slide 6 again?
Slide 6 was like, it's supposed to represent like the Wi-Fi not connecting, because me and my
Okay.
mom are connecting.
That one took me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really understand with the bars and the X over it. I was trying to like
It's like the, in the laptop browser, you'll see like when it's not connected, like an X.
Until you
That's
said
what
the-
I was going
Once
for.
you-
Until you said the word connected, it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I was hoping
okay.
like when I said connected, they would be like,
Then we all were connected.
Some kind of thing, but
Yeah.
it wasn't.
yes.
So I just wanted to like say that I really like enjoy how you set up your pictures to where like they're all like black and white. Like I know like definitely like the panda one for sure, and like that Wi-Fi connection. Like those could definitely be taken in like color, but I really like how you like observed that everything else is like black and white, and so you adjusted that for that. And I was like one of those people that got distracted. I'll admit that. But like the variety of your pictures was actually like good in the way that like yeah, it's been repeated, and so that's kind of why I was distracted. But like your pictures are like so different though that kept on like drawing me back in. So I thought it was like very different for that reason, but also very good because of that.
Yeah, it's different, and yet at the same time, it keeps impressing value scales in the back of your head, which takes you back to
Yeah.
what it really is.
I really liked how you kept each slide one picture, because some people are saying that that's kind of what the instructions were. It kept it interesting, and I really liked that slide with the paintbrush, because it helped me understand how exactly they did make those like leaves, because I was confused how they could do that completely. But seeing the way that, I don't know, that picture was very good to help me understand it.
Others? Oh, that's excellent. Brings-